internal feeling I got, it is everything is there is a Panchabhuta and some consciousness. So I am not that Panchabhuta, I am consciousness. This is what some internal feeling has come in a spiritual way. I can say it is not in a normal way. And also I was looking at the lamp. This is a Kartika Masana. My daughter, I don't know, suddenly this year she started 3 Deepa inside. And she will decorate and she will do that. She loves that. And when I looked at that, even the same thing, that Vayu, no? How to get the feel of the Vayu. When you sit, one is that through sparsha. Vayu will do the sparsha, from there you can get a feel. Other thing is that Agni, it will start moving, what you call that, Deepa, slowly. Then I was visualizing what is Vayu, like a Panchabhuta separately. Basic idea is separate this Panchabhuta and this consciousness and try to think that you are not that those Panchabhutas, they are different. Yeah, I have one doubt there. See, when something moves, say that lamp, when it moves, is it moves because of its own characteristics, or it is moving because of there is this within that there is Brahman?
It's a very complicated question actually. See, that lamp thing is only Panchabhuta. There is nothing else other than that. Okay, now where is consciousness? Consciousness is what is making it joined. Meaning, if the light and the wick and the movement, everything coming together, that is because of consciousness. And you are able to watch it due to consciousness. Meaning, you identifying it as a Deepa itself is consciousness.
That is correct. But the movement part?
Movement is due to Vayu.
Oh, it is. But without consciousness, nothing is going to move, right? That is what Bhagvadgita says.
No, that's correct. What it means is that the movement here is that joining. See, Agni cannot burn without the necessary condition. Vayu cannot move without a necessary condition. That which provides the condition is consciousness. See, I'll tell you one simple example. Some simple experiment you can do. Let's take, you want to do chapati. Chapati is nama. Okay. You have the flour and you have water, right? They both will bind. The nature of water is to bind the substance. Okay. Now, how much space it should maintain, the molecules or the atoms, what we are talking, how much of heat has to be maintained in that in order to, to have an ordered collection is consciousness. So, I'll again give another example. Now, you have a body heat, right? This body heat is keeping the whole body in a particular shape. If without that heat, this whole thing will dissipate. It will not even remain even for a moment. Okay. Now these 5 elements are held together because of consciousness.
Yes.
If you remove consciousness, these 5 elements will not be together. They will go back to however they were. So that which brings things together is consciousness. In a non-sentient beings, or like this wood and charcoal and this body itself and all that, it is bringing together. So if you look from lamp, oil and that pranati or whatever you have for that lighting, and then once you put it in the oil lamp and light it, generally the light is treated like Atma. For simile, if you want to say how it is in our body, if you want to say, then that is a simile given. But if you want to spiritually look at it, all of that is 5 elements. But bringing everything together is consciousness.
Okay, anything what you see, if there is more than one element together, that is called consciousness.
That is brought by consciousness. That is not
brought
consciousness.
by consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what he says in the 10th chapter is anything superior you see, the perfect thing. If something is perfect, it is me. That is consciousness.
Mm.
So if you look at a lamp and you are feeling that, wow, this is a good lamp, the best among is consciousness.
Mm.
What the whole 10th chapter says is consciousness is pure and bright.
Yes.
It has no kalmasha.
So whatever we feel when we see everywhere, it is nothing but consciousness only then.
Yes.
Because there is nothing without two things mixed out of these five panchabhutas.
Yes.
There is nothing is visible without two mix of two things or maybe more.
Exactly, and that is the reason Jagat is mithya. See, there are 3 steps to this. First step is it is joined.
Yes.
Reality is disjoined.
Yes.
First thing, but we don't see it as disjoint, right?
Mm.
We see it as joined. That's first thing. Second thing, it has no naming conventions.
Yeah.
Consciousness is consciousness, elements are elements. They don't have anything to name it.
Mm.
Third, there are no concepts.
Mm.
So if you are able to bring all of these 3 together, then you are released. Meaning if you are able to understand these 3 things.
Yes. Yes.
So we create concept. The mind creates a concept. It says that, okay, this is Nanda Deepa. Is a concept. Now you explain what is Nanda Deepa. So somebody will explain what is Nanda and what is Deepa and this one, that one. So there is process, how to do it, etc. etc. Sandhya Vandana Vidhi. So there is a process. But nobody understands it is a process. It's a concept. It's not real.
Mm.
The experience what you gain out of Sandhya Vandana is the experience by the consciousness.
Correct.
Not by you, but the mind is in between. Mind says that I am experiencing it. This puja, I am experiencing it. So the consciousness will just stand and observe.
Yes.
Because the concept is taken by the mind, as such, consciousness has no concepts.
Mm.
So all of this, whatever we are seeing, if we see anything is joint, anything is held together, let us say order. So the atoms come together as an ordered pair of existence. That ordering, and the universe is disorder, whereas the atoms are ordered like our body, they are ordered. They are in a particular order. So then we call that as a male and this as a female because it is running around in a particular order. So they are running around its own axis and creating heat, and that heat is the one which is keeping this order together. But it keeps on dissipating the energy. You cannot store the energy, it keeps on dissipating. So energy can never be created nor destroyed, but it will take on forms. This is the first law of thermodynamics. So if we were to apply that in principle in anything like the oil lamp or in the electricity or whatever it is, we can find that there is nothing else other than this, other than consciousness, which is making this ordered pair of existence. And that's what Krishna is also saying. Look, if you see anything at all, like Himalayas or this or that or whatever, it is me, the consciousness. I am the one who is bringing everything together. Otherwise, they cannot be brought together. So, Purusha is the one which is bringing the Prakriti to it, not the Prakriti moving Purusha. But when Prakriti comes in contact with Purusha, the momentum is reached. So it starts to dissipate, but it looks as though they are together. Like if you take our photographs from first year till today, we can see that the number of cells or the atoms have disjoint, join, disjoint, join, disjoint, join, disjoint. But that coming together is what consciousness is all about, and that is what Vishnu is all about.
Mm.
Vishwa plus Anu becomes Vishnu. Anu is atom. That which is bringing this two things together with a space in between, and that space is Brahman. In everything there is Brahman, simple as that. So there is Brahman is Satya, the Jagat formed out of that very thing is Mithya. So this can be found in everything.
Yes.
Be it a lamb, be it this, be it whatever, be it a human being, be it an animal, whatever we identify with, it's a concept.
Yeah.
But if somebody were to sit and ask, okay, tell me what we are. So we can say you are made out of 6 constituents, 5 elements and 1 consciousness. That's called a chitta. So you are an individual consciousness. You have got nothing to do with chit, which is universal consciousness. So as long as the vasanas and the karma and samskaras match, this individual consciousness can be associated with the 5 elements. Once they are supposed to go away, the inert becomes inert, the movement is gone. That's the birth and death cycle. So we can see that in every given form, including a tree giving a fruit and that fruit getting destroyed, you can see that plant.
Okay, the human all this happens because of the karma cycle, but the plants and other things, those things are happening based on what cycle?
No. There are 5 things. One is that you have bija niyama. You have a seed. So nature has a seed of existence. Till dissolution, there is an existence. Now, what causes dissolution is another story altogether. So that is a Srishti Sthiti Laya cycle. So that is another subject altogether. But we have to understand that if there is a Srishti, there is a Laya. And the mind is supposed to be made Sthiti. That is stillness or being there. That is what is the problem which we are not able to accomplish at this point in time. So there is this bija niyama. So each seed will provide with its own type of fruit. This niyama is of nature. That is prakriti. The life giver into that is Purusha. Now the question comes, is it due to karma? No. Only which has mind can exist with karma. Otherwise there is no karma.
So the feeling of the pain, pleasure and all that mind, that means the plant, there is no such things, right?
There is no mind to feel it, but it still has a feeling because there is consciousness. But it cannot make out that whether this is this person causing it or that insect causing it or this other thing causing it. How do we come to know? If you see the plants and the trees, they are firmly placed on the ground. That means they cannot move anywhere. You see any sentient being, they move.
Yes.
If there is a mind, there is movement. If there is no mind, there is no movement. Simple.
Okay.
Anything which has a mind will move. So if you take even an amoeba to protozoa to every the microscopic organisms to the gross organisms like humans or complex organism like human, it has mind. If there is a mind, you are searching for food. If you take a plant, it's only consciousness. So if there is no water provided, sunlight provided and all that, it is not going to curse or do anything. It will die.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have a rebirth cycle. As long as bija remains, it is going to come back.
Oh, okay.
That is common with everyone, including plants. So, if you take one is with mind, another one is without mind.
Yes.
So, karmic bija is what we have, physical bija is what they have, right?
Ah.
Now, karma also has a bija, right? Seed.
So, no karma attached automatically by the end of whenever there is no supply of water and manure and all that, it will die on its own.
It will die on its
and
own.
without any rebirth.
There's no
Because it is
rebirth.
bija is not there. Correct.
Because bija is not there. Clear. So there's nothing. So in our case, why are we reborn? Because there is a karma bija. Because of vasana. Vasana is the essence what is there inside that bija. So we are coming up again and again and again in a particular samskara.
Yes.
Okay. Now that's the reason we call it as a garbha samskara. So everything is a samskara in a human realm of existence.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at this is bija niyama. Then you have something called as rutu niyama. In which rutu you are supposed to be born? As a plant or as an animal or as a human being, as a deva or a brahma is the rutu niyama. This is again controlled by prakriti. This has got nothing to do with Purusha. Purusha just gives the life to that. Shiva just blesses. He doesn't take any action. If he takes action, that means he is part of Prakriti. So the Triguna is not there. So because Triguna is not there in Shiva or Brahman or whatever we want to call, it doesn't take any action. There is no fruit of action. Okay, so that is the second one called as a Rutu. In which Rutu it has to come. And Rutu is something to do with nature, Prakriti. Only Prakriti has a Rutu. The Purusha doesn't have a Rutu. So the Niyama is on Rutu Niyama. Then you have the Karma Niyama, which is what all minds have Karma Niyama as its core existence. So I am existing and everyone presently is existing not because I wanted to exist, because karma bija is there and it is the one which is making the existence possible. Not it's my wish that okay, I want to be awake today and I want to do this or that or whatever. That is the mind thinking, but it is dependent on the karma. So karma niyama. So karma has its own niyama. What should work, what should not work, nearness, farness, grossness, subtleness, all that is part of karma. So that mind will feel and perceive according to its karma. That means, I'll give an example. Same person as X is liked by one and hated by another. That is because of karma niyama. That person is a human being actually. But one person will like and one person will not like that human being. He cannot stand his face itself. But other people are very happy to talk to him. Let's say there are 4 people, 4 of them out of that, one person hates that very sight of that person and other 3 like him. Out of other 3, 2 really like him and 1 is neutral. It doesn't really bother him why he or she is like that. So this is again part of the karma, playing out of karma. The attraction and repulsion happens, the raga and dvesha is karmically dependent because of samskara. I'll give a beautiful example. Now there is a controversy happening on the renaming of Hyderabad in the municipal election.
Yeah, Bhagyan Nagar.
Bhagyan Nagar, and then this OYC, that fellow
Yes.
is creating problem, and somebody is commenting, and if he is a Muslim, let us say, and that fellow will say that Hyder Ali is the person, and we should be safeguarding that name. It's just a name, it doesn't really
Hmm.
matter. But for him, Hyder Ali is Hyder Ali. So he is a Ali tradition. So he has to be there, right? And one who is not from that, and doesn't want that name, because before the Islam there was this Sanatana Dharma. So we want to revive Sanatana Dharma as an example. Now it is better to rename it something which is good, because Hyderabad is not a good name. This is a good name. So when we look at that, if the samskara is of a Musalman, then that person will want this to be named like this. It's an object, actually. There is no person there. Hyderabad is not a person. But the amount of heat which is generated in nature is because of that karmic cycle. How the person is perceiving, because there is samskara at its root. So you have
Hmm.
vasana. The vasana was to become like a Musalman, or as a Hindu or a Christian or whatever it is. Then it created the necessary foundation, or the bija, which will take the karma as its root. So now you have karma, and then the samskara. I am from Musalman samskara, I am from Hindu samskara, or a Brahmana samskara, or a Kshatriya samskara, or a Veera Shaiva samskara, or a OBC samskara, or whatever the samskara can be defined as, or I am somebody like a Christian samskara, or whatever samskara. It's a samskara. So samskara means habit patterns. If I am habituated to be someone whom as a child I've been introduced, and I'm happy because I don't know what really it is, so I've grown with that. Giving up the samskara is impossible. And also karma will not allow you to give up that samskara. So basically they color it up the way they want to color. So based upon the karma samskara, karma, that is vasana, karma, and this samskara, your dharma is defined. So your Musalman dharma, or Brahmana dharma, or Veera Shaiva dharma, Lingayat dharma, Gauda dharma, or this dharma, that dharma, whatever dharma it can be. So each person will come out with his own dharma, saying that this is the dharma what I follow, and everything else is not right. Okay. So because he wants to exist, that dharma has to exist. Okay, so now we covered on Bija Niyama, then we covered on Rutu Niyama, we covered on the Karma Niyama, then Dharma Niyama, then the final Niyama is the Chitta Niyama. What the Chitta is bringing. If the Chitta is bringing hatredness, he was earlier in an animal realm of existence, now uh, promoted to a human realm of existence. His characteristics, meaning his attributes or his attitude, whatever you want to bring it as, will be of animalistic in nature. So majorly that person will have a hatredness towards every given thing. In general, that person will hate. If somebody comes late, he hates. If it is very hot, he hates it. If it is very cold, he hates it. So everything is hatredness. Or some person will be very greedy. So even if he has, he will be keep on saying, I don't have, it should have been like this. Hey boss, you are having such a nice home. What man, I'm having only 2 bedroom home. It should have been 3 bedroom. With the money what I have, I couldn't buy it. Then he buys 3 bedroom. Then he feels that it should have been slightly bigger. I have a 3 bedroom home, but it is not as big as what I expected. So there is always this greed and hatred added together. So that is coming in the chitta. And here's full of moha. for life. So if these things exist, the person, what we call as a person, is made out of all of these 5 niyamas. It need not be only karma. Whereas for a plant, there is no these 5 definitions. Whereas for all mind, that is from amoebic to human, there is this 5 niyamas. So it depends on what niyama is being followed. Questions? But all are powered by consciousness only.
All these niyamas will play in equal measure.
Need not be. It's a most complex system. Here comes complexity. How? I'll tell you. See, let's say today we have slightly sunny in one place. Some place, like in Whitefield, you might find it cloudy. In where Bhatt is staying, it might be sunny. You might like that, or you might not like that. So it at that moment, at this moment, when we see the same thing, we might not react in the same way because of this 5 niyamas. So it can change. It will never be the same. For each individual, it will be different, and for each the same individual, the quantity of these niyamas will also vary.
So what makes it vary? That we do not know, or
No, this is like asking.
pattern?
It's like asking how did Prakriti come in touch with Purusha?
Okay.
It's just like scientists are trying to find out what happened before the Big Bang.
Yeah, so actually the reason I was asking is, so for example, if you do this Chitta Shuddhi,
Mhm.
then mostly then Chitta Niyama will come into picture, is what I thought.
Yes, it comes into picture and it will cancel out the remaining.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
That is what they all ultimately, there are 2 choices to make. One is going through karma route, which is what Jainism is all about, right? So they believe in karma. So what they did is they keep on plucking up their hairs. So they go into austerity, tremendous austerity. So then what happens? Your karma is completely removed. The karma bija is removed. Okay, so that is karma. Whereas Buddha Dharma is on Chitta Shuddhi or Chitta Niyama, which is what Shankaracharya is also all about. He doesn't bother about any other thing as except for Chitta Shuddhi. The remaining traditions which we have are on Bhuta Shuddhi and on Bhakti Marga. So if you take that, then karma, dharma comes into existence. Okay, and the remaining will recede. So that's fine, fair. So one will become stronger than the other.
Yeah, that is, then we can make any of them stronger based on our
Yes,
choice.
your choice. This is what the through consciousness you can make something stronger and cut the remaining, and hence you can liberate.
Yeah, this is a free will.
That's a free will, yes. So it's not that you don't have a free will at all. It's not that you have a free will as a free will, but it's very complicated to say, do you have free will? And it goes into argument and argument and argument. You have, you don't have, something like that. But in the niyama, in the niyama is the regulations. Yama is the rules. If you follow the regulation, you can create free will. Like Patanjali found out, if you were to be having shaucha, cleanliness, remaining things are easy. Shaucha will bring in santosha, that will bring in swadhyaya, tapas, and tapascharya becomes swadhyaya, and then ultimately you are giving it to that consciousness which is Ishvara Pranidhana. So it's very easy steps. So only two things have to be done. Rules. Rule number one, ahimsa. So you put the rule of ahimsa, everything else will fall in place. And regulation, you want to regulate yourself. Fine. After you have set your rules on ahimsa, you set the regulation of shaucha. That's all. Finished. The remaining four will fall in place. So you have to only establish one rule, one regulation. That's all. So if we have understood karma phala and karma and what needs to be done, like what Bhagvadgita teaches in the 3rd and 4th and 5th chapter, if we can implement, that means you have made karma niyama as the best one, because it will take you to dharma. Then you will understand chitta. Then you will understand about the bija. Then you will know about rutu.
So it is possible to be known about bija and rutu also. I thought that are not under our. We cannot do anything about it.
You can know about all, but you have to see what is more ideal way of working. See, knowing is one thing. I can know about bija, I can know about this, but how do you remove bija now? That's not possible, right? It is because of prarabdha.
Yeah.
Now I cannot question that how did I end up being here? It is an absurd question, but that is what bija is all about. So some people go in search of bija. I want to find out about my past, so I'll go into past life regression and I'll find out, oh, this has come from that bija. Oh, I had this interest in the last life itself. And what was I in the last life? That to last life, that last life, that last life. So I'm creating even more samskaras than what was required.
So bija niyama is searching for vasanas, which is not possible.
It's not possible. So that's the reason none of the realized people did that. Even though you have 5 niyamas, you should understand the 5 niyamas only. Now you have to select which is the easiest route. You can only come up to 2 things. One is, or rather 3 things. One is chitta, karma, dharma. Now you have to select a dharma which will either cleanse your karma or cleanse the chitta. Okay. So the bhakti marga is about cleansing the karma. So fine, no problem. You are not able to have this nirvikalpa samadhi established. You go for savikalpa samadhi. You build a Krishna or Rama or Jesus or Muruga or whatever you have in your mind, and make that consciousness observing you everything, everywhere. And you are done it. So you are on that dharma. It will give you the jnana. Or if my chitta is pure, I know how to deal with chitta, beautiful, then I don't have to worry about karma, dharma and all that, because automatically it comes. If my chitta is pure, it brings in the purity. Purity of thoughts bring purity of action. So purity of thoughts and actions are there, then the dharma is established. If dharma is established, the karma phala cannot be, the bad karma phala cannot come. That means I have taken care of the karma bija. The bija niyama is understood. Then the rutu, in what state it will come, in what stages it will not come, I know it. So that is a rutu I have understood. So I need to only understand about karma, dharma and chitta. Others I don't have to deal with it at all.
Okay.
So we have only 3, basically. And that is the reason he also talks about sattva, rajas, tamas. Simple. Your chitta has a sattvic quality, it also has a rajasic quality, it also has a tamasic quality.
Right.
Dharma is also having sattvic quality, rajasic quality and tamasic quality. How sattvic, how rajasic, how tamasic? Now, let's say a person is worshipping a god, a deity like, let us say, Shiva. Okay, he is uttering Rudra and Chamaka. and he doesn't know what it is. He only believes in utterance. It is tamasic. And because he's in ignorance, simple. And then that action of utterance is rajasic, but it doesn't bring him sattva. There is no essence of doing that. There is absolutely nothing he's getting out of it. So let's say he does upavasa and this and that, and goes to different Shiva temples, and he prays, prostrates, do all kind of rituals required. And if the slippers are stolen, he gets terribly angry. He's upset that somebody stole his slippers and he had kept it there and all that. Then on the road, he keeps on shouting on people if they cut his car or two-wheeler or whatever he is having. Then he comments on people who are not able to wear the dhoti in a proper way, sit in a proper way, and he is feeling very proud about how he is able to sit, how he is able to do all this for days together and all that. Let's take that example. So the sattva, rajas, tamas is there in everything if you really see. So knowingly he is taking tamasic. So if we understand only this much about sattva, rajas, tamas, you don't have to understand the niyamas also. Leave the niyamas aside. Only sattvic, rajasic, tamasic will tell you where you are. If you are getting an experience of doing whatever puja you are doing, that means you are in sattvic. If there is only exertion of energy, then it is rajasic. If you are not getting any phala out of doing anything, whatever you are doing, it is tamasic. But is gone.
That's interesting. Yeah, but has said that for half an hour he'll be gone and he'll join back.
Okay. Yeah, there are so much of interesting information, Lata. If you keep on experiencing, it becomes more easy to understand.
Yeah. That's true. See, if you are experienced, then it is your own experience. It will stay with you.
Correct. And these things, whatever I'm talking, you'll never find in the books.
Yeah, I know. That is a good one. That mantra japa. What is tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic, or any rituals, whatever we do.
Yes.
So, but if you do all these rituals in the sattvic way, then you will slowly get your mind will start getting purified, isn't it?
Yes. Sattva always purifies. Whereas Rajasic is always movement. You require the movement.
Yeah.
Without that, you can. So people will try to shut down the movement. It's not possible. So the movement is towards sattvic essence or tamasic no essence. So if we are doing work like in office, knowing nothing about it, but just doing as doing, it doesn't bring any sattva. It is tamasic. But if I know what I am doing and why I am doing a particular thing with full awareness, it is sattvic. And the movement of doing is the rajasic. But consciousness as such is beyond all the three.
Yeah.
It just powers up.
Correct. So that's why we keep missing the consciousness and everything else we catch.
Yes. True. I think yesterday, day before Friday, we covered up on the 38th verse also, which is 71 vibhutis. So we completed all the vibhutis. So what I can do is that I can give you a summary of all the vibhutis.
Yeah, that will be good.
So the first one he says, Mam, that is myself. So if you know your consciousness, that's the best ever vibhuti you already have possessed. If that is not possible, the second one he talks about is Vishnu. So In that there are 12 Adityas, I am the Vishnu. So that if you know is good. That means Vishwa Anu, that means you know how atoms are coming together, and that heat formation which is happening and called as ordered pairs is what consciousness is all about. Then if you can't understand that, he says, look at the sun, how it is shining. All suns are because of me, the consciousness. That the radiance is actually talking about. Then he comes to Marichi, which we also looked at on the Maruts. So the storm which forms and the lightning strike which happens inside, if you really experience it and see it, you know how from nothing something is getting formed. So he talks about Marichi. Then he says, you look at the moon. So moon is the brightest of the night. Luminaire is equivalent to sun, but this brings in coolness and pleasantness. And you would love to keep on seeing the moon, but you don't love to see the sun. So if you understand how moon is there, how pleasant it is, so if you want to have a pleasantness, every mind feels pleasant about the full moon. Okay, if you really want to enjoy that, that enjoyer is consciousness. That is the next one he talks about. Then he takes about Samaveda, anything musical and which gives a perfect note. It is consciousness because it has a perfect note. Then he talks about Vasava or the Indra. So there are 33 gods under Indra. So all these gods have mighty powers. So he is the power of the power. So that's the reason he calls him as Vasava, Indra. Then Manas, mind, which houses itself, Chitta, Buddhi, Ahankara, all these four. So because it holds all of this and it can add everything up through senses, so it is the greatest magician ever found. So he says, I am the mind, because it has consciousness there. Sentient, that is living beings. So I am the Bhuta in every class from below to above, I am there. Then he talks about Shankara, 11 Rudras. So if you look at the Shankara, he knows how to do the Pralaya. That means person who can remove the illusion itself is Shankara. So if you are enlightened, it means that it's consciousness which is enlightened to reality. Then he talks about Kubera. But they have hairy, fiery eyes and teeth are sticking out and huge sizes and bring in ferocious appearances, and that is also caused through consciousness. So he says, I am the Kubera. And it also has richness. Anala is the fire, and he talks about the 8 Vasus. Okay, so they serve the Virat Brahman, that is the complete. How to experience this, I think I would have told it in the 11th chapter, but right now we all are breathing. Just imagine that all this heat, where it is going, and you can see the Virat formation itself. The out breath comes with heat. Just think where this heat is going, or apart from the breath of all the living beings, the heat from the land, from the forest, what we call as a heat capsule, that whole heat and fuel, that is Ojas and Tejas, is what the Virat is all about. And that is the Vishwarupa Darshana. Everything goes back to that, changes form and comes back. So he talks about the 8 fire. Then we have Meru, from having the skull connected through the Meru Danda, which is the spinal column, and spinal column takes the entire load of the body. Similarly, Earth is, or all the planets in its own direction, or the entire universe itself is on an axis. So it is Meru. Shikhara is the mountain. So just like a mountain, it holds everything. Brihaspati is a royal priest. So he was a priest of Indra and also has the repository of knowledge. And Skanda we already covered, so it is about one who is straightforward, and he is having all the strategy and information. So that's the reason he's an army general, and nobody can be as perfect as him. And he was the commander in the Shiva's army. Sea, still water. So any lakes, what you find, it is the consciousness. Then he talks about the Bhrigu in Maharshi. So very much shining, lustrous, and the person himself is completely liberated. And Om, we have spoken more about that. Japa Yajna is sacrifices, so repeating the name of the Lord and then putting your senses into ashes. And Himalayas, we spoke about that, why Himalayas you have to have. Then the people tree, we spoke about Ashwatha, Narada, and one who has the perfected knowledge, and he knows only consciousness, nothing else. And Gandharvas, Chitraratha. So all artists, musicians, painters, sculptors require one pointedness, and one pointedness is part of consciousness. Kapila Muni, in terms of Siddha, so he was able to find out about 24 elements and the Purusha, so Kapila. Uchchaishravas is the horse of Indra, so it's a good sign and friend of all the gods. Nectar, Amrita, that is the Milky Ocean when churned by Asuras and the Devas. Airavata is the elephant of Indra, and it is perfectly pure, it's white. King in men, because power comes with it, so is all powerful. Thunderbolt in weapon, if you have seen the thunderbolt which comes, it takes millions of volts, hits on the ground, and that is what consciousness is all about. It can change something which cannot be changed. It can move something which cannot be moved. So all the 5 elements cannot be moved, but consciousness has the ability to move the 5 elements. Kamaduk is the cow, so it is Kamadhenu, fulfilling all wishes. So if all the wishes of the mind is getting done, it because of Kama, of this Kamadhenu. And this Manmata, in terms of love, which brings the man and woman together in a human, and all other beings also have this feminine and masculinity coming together. Then Vasuki in the snake, that we had covered. So then Ananta in the Nagas, so that like from the Vishnu Loka to below, you have this Ananta. Varuna are the water deities and the Devata of the oceans who can provide water, which is also an Amrita. Aryama are the Pitrus. So this more detail I don't have on these Pitrus, so I need to find out. Yama is part of the rules. So as a rule, everybody has to die. So whoever has done good deeds will get good reward, done bad deed, bad reward, and that is created out of consciousness. I think like that, everything. Otherwise, it will be just reading out whatever I know. So basically, what we need to understand is that anything great is consciousness. Then he talks about the seed of creation. He says, Yaccha api sarva bhutanam bijam tat aham arjuna na tat asti vina yat syat maya bhutam characharam. So, Yaccha api sarva bhutanam, in all beings, at is bijam tat aham arjuna, is a seed. So this is what we spoke about the 5 niyamas. I am that in everything. Na tat asti vina yat syat. There is nothing in this world which can exist without me. Maya bhutam chara acharam. I am in chara, which is moving. I am also in achara, which is unmoving. That means I exist everywhere as an observer. I don't join in any given form at all. Then he says that my list is endless. So na antaha asti mama divyanam vibhutim parantapa ishatu uddeshataha proktaha vibhuti vistaraha maya. That is, if I keep on telling you, there is no end to it. So I am always infinite. And he says, in general, consider these 3 things of my vibhuti. Yadyat vibhuti mat sattvam shrimat urjitam eva va tatat eva avagachatvam mama tejaha amsha sambhavam. So he says, you consider these 3 qualities: vibhutim, shrimat, urjitam, that is glory, prosperity, and power. These are the 3 things what consciousness can provide. And you can put basically all of this 71 under these 3. So you take this 71, if whatever is glorious or brilliant, you put under that vibhutim. Whichever of them comes as Srimat, prosperity, you put there. Urjitam, the power, urja. Right, from eating, we get the urja, energy. So that, whatever the power is coming, you put it. And you can put all 71 under that. But still, there will be many of that. So he says in the end that Athava bahuna etena kim gnatena tava arjuna vishtabhya aham idam kristam ek amshenha stitah jagat. But all of these detail, what is the use? I can keep on telling you more and more about them, O Arjuna. But if you really see, I am there as a supporting this whole world. And ek amshena stitah jagat. This jagat is coming into existence just by one amsha. Amsha means one essence. I have not put everything there. It just, I'm touching it and this whole thing comes to light. So that's what the vibhutis are all about. With that, our chapter also ends.
So the 10th chapter is over.
Yes, so you are interested in 11th chapter, so we can go to 11th chapter. Before that, to practice, to understand this, you need to make it like heat. Then only you will understand all the 71 of them. The easiest thing to do is to consider everything as heat. The warmth in your hand to everything that is temperature driven is consciousness. Then the experience will be good of these 71 vibhutis. Because if you see, everything is of energy only. There is nothing we have spoken is without any energy out of 71. So the first law of thermodynamics works properly in consciousness, wherein energy is neither created nor destroyed, but changes forms. So the energy gets transformed from one to another. So all beings, all existences, all forms, all the bigger one, smaller one, whatever it is the energy only. So you cannot keep it together all the time. It keeps on disintegrating. It disintegrates the very matter which it is holding it. The holding on is the enthalpy, and the changeover is the entropy. So basically it keeps on dissipating. So what happens is it turns cold. So you cannot make it go from a colder to hot body, but it will always go from hot to cold. So everything in this world brought from consciousness turns itself from hot to cold. Hot water, you keep it, becomes cold. Food hot becomes cold. Body hot becomes cold at death. Then the law is that if a system that is human approaches a constant value in temperature and it goes to zero, then existence is removed. It can't exist. So all that is created out of consciousness. So if you put all 71 vibhutis in that way, you can experience whatever is put there. So if you don't have any further question, then we can meet up tomorrow. I will let you know the time depending upon my son's COVID result. If the result has not come, we can still meet at 8:30. Else we will meet at 9.
Okay, fine.
And then we can take the 11th chapter.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, all right then.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye. Bye.